Ever get that feeling, when a song comes on and suddenly you're right back in a specific moment?
Absolutely. It's like a time machine, isn't it? Certain melodies just have this incredible power to unlock memories.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today, music and memory. But with a twist.
Intrigued already.
Our guide is Alexei Goncharov. And, well, his story is anything but ordinary. He wrote this book.
I've heard of it. A fascinating blend of genres.
Exactly. Part memoir, part prayer book, and get this, part sheet music.
Wow, that's a unique combination. This is a lot about the man, I'd imagine.
You hit the nail on the head. Music is so deeply intertwined with his life, his faith, everything, especially growing up in Soviet-era Russia.
Right, a time and place where expressing faith openly was often incredibly difficult.
And that context makes his story even more powerful. Like, imagine being a young boy, sent to work in a cardboard factory.
Sounds pretty typical for that era, at least on the surface.
Yeah, until you discover it wasn't just any factory. Goncharov later found out it used to be a church.
Oh, wow. That sends chills down my spine. It was a common tactic, The Soviets would repurpose religious buildings, trying to erase their significance.
Can you imagine the impact on communities? Having your sacred spaces turned into something so ordinary, it's heartbreaking.
Absolutely. To have your history literally paved over like that, it's a form of cultural erasure, really.
And yet, those experiences, they left an undeniable mark on Goncharov. He even composed a piece called Christmas Morning, inspired by that very factory, or rather, former church.
Really? That's incredible. I wonder what kind of emotions he conveys in that piece.
You can almost feel this sense of wonder in the music, as if, amidst the mundane, he still sensed something, well, sacred.
That makes me think of standing at the edge of the ocean or under a star-filled sky, that awe-inspiring feeling.
Exactly. It's like a glimpse into something much bigger than ourselves. And Goncharov captures that same feeling in his Sea Song for Olechka, dedicated to his daughter.
There's something so powerful about expressing those profound emotions through music, something words can't quite grasp.
Absolutely. It's like he's sharing that experience with his daughter, creating this beautiful connection through melody.
And that connection, that intertwining of family and faith, it's a constant throughout his story, especially when we learn about his mother, Albina.
Her journey is incredible. Yeah, imagine being born during wartime, secretly baptized because of the political climate.
It's hard for us to even grasp the weight of those choices back then, the risks people took simply to practice their faith.
And later in life, she rediscovers that faith.
Yeah.
It becomes central to who she is. It's like this testament to the human spirit's need for something to hold on to, something bigger than ourselves.
And to pass that faith on to your children, despite the risks, it speaks volumes about her strength.
There's this almost unbelievable story. As a young girl, she used to sing a song called Katusha in church. She thought it was just a regular song.
Katusha, but that's,
Yeah.
Wait a minute, that song is deeply ingrained in Russian culture, isn't it? It's about love and loss during wartime.
You know your Russian history. And that seemingly small detail, it speaks volumes. It shows how deeply ingrained faith was, even if it had to find expression in unexpected ways.
It's like this hidden language, a way to connect with something sacred, even when it's dangerous to do so openly.
Exactly. And you can almost feel that unyielding spirit, that resilience woven into the very notes of Waltz for My Mother.
A tribute not just to a mother's love, but to the power of the human spirit to find hope, even in the darkest times.
But his story takes a turn, a difficult one. That's when we enter the chapter of his life marked by challenge and uncertainty, his time in the army. It's a stark contrast, isn't it? Going from the warmth of family and the solace of faith straight into the rigidity and uncertainty of Soviet military life. For Goncharov, this wasn't just a change of scenery.
It was a complete upheaval, a real clash of realities.
Exactly. Imagine having this dream, this burning desire to become a cosmonaut.
Like a symbol of hope, of reaching for the stars, literally.
Right. And then, bam, reality hits. Grueling training, the ever-present threat of Afghanistan, a system where disillusionment seems woven into the fabric of everyday life.
It's in those moments, those crushing disappointments, that our values are truly tested, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And if for Goncharov, faith became even more important during his time in the army. It was his anchor.
His lifeline in a sea of uncertainty.
And it's fascinating how this sense of hope emerges for him. He talks about having this recurring dream while he was serving.
Oh, what was the dream about?
Picture this. He's walking on this beautiful beach, palm trees swaying in the breeze. Beside him, a woman pushing a stroller.
Sounds idyllic, especially compared to army life.
Right. But here's the thing. In that stroller, it's his daughter, Maria.
Wait, he hadn't even met his wife yet at this point.
Nope, let alone started a family.
Dreams are something else, aren't they? They've always held this mystical quality across so many cultures. Messages from beyond, glimpses into the future. Who knows?
Well, for Goncharov, this wasn't just some fleeting image. It was a beacon, this powerful symbol of hope during a really dark time.
It's like that dream planted a seed. This unshakable belief that a brighter future was out there waiting for him.
And that's what he clung to. Even as the Soviet Union crumbled around him, even with all the uncertainty, he had this image, this premonition almost, of the family he would have.
He was determined to find this woman from his dream. That's incredible. Talk about a leap of faith.
He actually described it as feeling like he was living in a fairy tale, searching for this woman who, for all he knew, might not even exist outside of his dreams.
And yet, somehow, he did find her.
He did. Her name was Olga. And get this, their first date. It solidified that whole destiny thing.
I bet. What happened?
They ended up visiting the same cathedral that had appeared in his dream. Talk about a sign.
Wow. It really is like those dreams were guiding him all along, leading him to the love and family he was meant to have.
And of course, Goncharov, being Goncharov, he expresses all this joy, this overwhelming feeling of destiny unfolding through his music.
Naturally. Do tell.
He composed A Dreamland of Love for Olga. It's everything you'd expect.
Oh,
whimsical, romantic, this infectious joy just pours out of every note.
It's incredible how music can capture those emotions so perfectly, like words just wouldn't do it justice.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like he's saying, this is the dream, and it's even more amazing than I ever imagined. But hold on tight, because life, as they say, has a few more surprises in store. Life's funny that way, isn't it? Just when you think you've got it all figured out, a new path opens up. Goncharov and Olga, they built this wonderful life in Russia, but then an opportunity in Singapore presented itself.
A big move, especially with a young family. What made them take that leap?
It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Leaving behind everything you know to start fresh in a new country, it takes guts. But they thrived in Singapore. Their family grew, their careers blossomed, but as fate would have it, another chapter awaited them. This time, it was Canada calling.
So they were drawn to new horizons again. I find it fascinating how some people seem to have that adventurous spirit, always seeking, always exploring.
Absolutely. For many immigrants, it's more than just opportunity, wouldn't you say? It's about finding that sense of belonging, a community that feels like home. And for Goncharov and his family, that sense of belonging went hand in hand with their faith.
Makes sense. Finding a spiritual home can be incredibly grounding, especially in a new place.
Exactly. They found that at St. Herman of Alaska Orthodox Church. But it wasn't just about attending services. They dove right into the heart of that community.
They really embraced it, didn't they?
Completely. They baked prosphora, that liturgical bread used in Orthodox services.
Oh, yes, I've seen it. Very intricate.
They even sang in the choir, and get this, they trained service dogs. Talk about dedication, putting their faith into action.
There's something so powerful about using your passions to serve others, don't you think?
Absolutely. And remember how important it was for Goncharov to make faith accessible to children. He combined that with his woodworking skills to create these beautiful, Orthodox-themed educational toys.
That's brilliant. What a wonderful way to share his faith and inspire young minds.
Right. Now imagine this. Their community decides to build a brand new church. They pour their hearts into this project. And just as construction gets going, bam, the COVID-19 pandemic hits.
Oh, no. Talk about terrible timing. That must have been devastating after all that work and planning.
It was a huge setback. But here's the thing. Their faith, it didn't waver. They adapted.
Oh.
Services went online, and they found creative ways to stay connected.
That resilience is inspiring. They could have easily given up on the project, but they didn't.
They didn't. And get this, just when it seemed like the dream might be on hold indefinitely, something incredible happened. Donations poured in from all over Canada, even the U.S.
Wow. People recognized their dedication, their commitment to something bigger than themselves.
It's a reminder that even in tough times, that human spirit of generosity, of coming together, it can shine through. And when they finally opened the doors of their new church, it was more than just a building. It was a symbol of resilience, a testament to the power of faith and community to overcome even the toughest challenges.
And knowing Goncharov, I bet he found a way to capture all of that, the struggle, the triumph, through his music.
Are you kidding? He composed a piece called Fellowship. And get this, his inspiration came from The Lord of the Rings.
The Lord of the Rings. Now that's an interesting connection.
Right. But it makes sense. when you think about it. Both stories are about a fellowship bound by this shared purpose, facing these overwhelming odds, and ultimately they find strength in their shared journey.
The power of fellowship, of leaning on each other, especially in the face of adversity, it's a universal theme, isn't it?
It really is. Now, remember those vivid dreams Goncharov had about his daughter, Maria? Years later, Marie found love and happiness, guess where?
I'm guessing within their church community.
You got it. She married a wonderful man named Jack in a beautiful Orthodox ceremony. It's like life coming full circle. Those early dreams of family, then witnessing his own daughter's wedding.
It's a beautiful thing to see your children find love and build their own lives within the traditions that have shaped your own. There's a continuity there, a passing of the torch in a way.
Beautifully said. And naturally, Goncharov, being the musician that he is, composed a special piece for the occasion, a waltz for Maria. And you can hear it all in the music. The joy of the celebration, that touch of melancholy as a parent watches their child embark on their own journey.
It's that bittersweet beauty of life, isn't it? Each stage bringing its own joys and sorrows.
It really is. And through it all, music has this incredible power to capture it all. The laughter, the tears, the triumphs, and the heartbreaks. So as we reach the final bars of Goncharov's story, I have to ask you, how does music shape your own? What melodies have become the soundtrack to your life? Because just like each note builds upon the last to create a symphony, each experience, each choice we make adds to the grand composition that is our life.
That's a beautiful thought to leave us with. It makes you want to go back and listen to those meaningful songs, to relive those memories, and appreciate how they've shaped who we are today.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe even create some new musical memories along the way.